to spoil it, we all really enjoyed it, I'd say.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
It's Pixar.
It's a Pixar. They put out some banger movies.
Makes a lot of movies about existential dread. I don't
Yep.
know if anyone's caught
This
up
is
on
the
that yet.
most existential dread of all of them.
I thought
Yes.
Inside Out
Yeah.
was the worst they could do.
It's
and,
both.
and I mean worse in
Yeah.
a good way.
They topped it.
They topped it, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh god, the concept of death. Like 10 minutes in, he's like, did I die? I'm glad this movie isn't what I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's Disney's marketing team, but they undersell Pixar movies a lot. I wasn't that jazzed about Onward, and it ended up being great.
Yeah,
I wasn't that interested in Soul, and I think it's better than Onward.
I do too. Yeah,
But
I agree.
like in the trailer, you know, it's you can do whatever you want with your life. What do you want to do? And 22 is just like, I want to be known for doing this dance, and they do like a stupid TikTok dance.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
Not in the movie.
Yeah.
That scene's straight up not in the movie.
That's because
And-
no one liked it, probably.
Yeah, it's stupid as shit.
Yeah,
But like that's the kind of vibe I get from the movie. It's like, oh, he's gonna be hanging out with a cringy Gen Z fucking like a Zoomer ass bitch, and no, it's this existential story about this person who doesn't want to be born.
someone who doesn't want to be alive and someone who desperately wants to be alive.
Yeah.
Like every like 10 minutes they'd throw a new like line of dialogue that just kind of makes you go, what the fuck? Like, is living worth dying? That kind of hit me. It's
I
like,
was
well,
shit.
that's like, well, is
And
it?
the great beyond don't look that inviting. It's just a white
Void.
light.
I had a fan theory that once you pass through the beyond, you memory is wiped and you become a fetus again, alluding to reincarnation, which they didn't say wasn't the case. So
I
you
don't
know.
think so because
Yeah.
like there's a whole section of the movie that's about building new feti.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
That's true.
And building
Plus, they call them
personalities.
1 billion, sorry, 22. or
Yeah, they were
whatever.
counting.
So
Yeah.
She was literally the 22nd person ever made.
it's okay. I thought what it went for instead of a Shyamalan twist like that was more of the themes and more of
Yeah.
the existentiality.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
And I thought it really interesting that we're spoiling immediately, right? The very end. I thought it really interesting that when they offered him a chance to go back, because the cliche in movies is that
He
no,
doesn't take it.
I've grown as a character. I don't want. He's like,
I-
oh fuck yeah, I'll be music guy.
I want to be alive.
I want to be alive. I'll do
And
it.
you know what he says though? He's like, and you know what? I'm gonna live my life to its fullest.
Yeah,
Because he saw that even though 22 didn't want to be alive, that
she still learned
they
to.
found
The things she
the things
wanted
you
to
like
live
in
for.
the smallest, dumbest shit.
I like how they didn't explicitly say it, but his spark is clearly to teach.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
That was so nice.
I also
Yep.
like the idea that maybe your spark isn't really a specific thing. It's just the fact that you're ready to live. You know,
That was 22's thing.
that was
Yep.
so cool. That was the coolest
Simply
thing in the world.
experiencing life was her spark.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was great. This movie again is so just on point thematically and existentially. I watched this like, I got up on Christmas. I got up straight up at 6 a.m. and like, you know, it's like 6:40. My parents are still asleep. My sister's still at her apartment. And I'm just like, this movie's so fun. I'm like, am I alive? Is living good? I love movies like this, and they
Yeah.
still
Start your day strong, buddy.
they still hit you with some really good comedy.
Yes, this movie's funny.
I will say this though, I do have one small
You're
gripe.
wrong.
I will
No.
say small gripe, which is when they get back to Earth, I felt like the movie dipped a little bit in quality. When they get back and 22's in Joe's body and Joe is in the cat, there were some funny skits, don't get me wrong, and the barbershop scene is fantastic,
really
especially
good.
when he roasts the shit out of Paul
Yeah.
unintentionally. That was great. But I just felt like a couple of it was just like, oh, it's cliche. It's, oh, you're in my body. You gotta act normal.
I don't know if that was like dip in quality. I would more so say that it became traditional Pixar. Where
Yeah,
this
that's a
is
good
the
way to
buddy
put it.
comedy adventure where there's a little quirky character and someone's in the wrong thing.
Oopie doopie.
Whoopie doopie.
I-
So, you know.
I can't even agree because there's the scene in the barbershop, which is really good, and then the scene with his mom.
That is a good
Yes.
scene.
That's the best scene in the movie for one.
That was so good.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a good scene.
Wow, how does it feel to be incorrect? Try again. Where he's like, I feel like if I had died today, my life would mean nothing. And I went, yep, I'm about to cry. That, yes, that's
felt
what
that
living
too.
means. Like, there's so much. It's that feeling of being a disappointment and that feeling of knowing that he literally died and he looked at his whole life and he's like, wow, what the fuck?
See, that is
Like-
exactly why he didn't go, no thanks. He was going, bitch, I just got my life turned around.
There's so much heartfelt in that one moment. And there's all of that as well is 22 also learning with him. He's not teaching at that point. He's also learning.
Yeah, they teach
And
each
there's
other.
so much depth to Joe that we get throughout the film.
Yeah.
We don't just get all of it piled on at the beginning. we only know like 2 things about him when he dies. We know he teach and he got new gig
And he liked jazz.
and he likes so you like jazz.
Yeah, I loved that opening of him before he died was shorter than the freaking prologue of the movie.
Yep.
I thought that the movie would waste like 20, 30 minutes establishing his character, and it's like, no, I'd rather
10.
you develop that as time goes on.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
We got maybe 10 minutes with him. He died.
Yep.
We,
That
lear-
was,
we
that was
learned
awesome.
everything
Well, he
throughout the
was-
movie.
Dying. He
Yep.
was like in the state in between because I think once he had gone into the great beyond, then he would have
Yeah,
flatlined.
Yep.
He still had the heartbeat
Yep.
Yeah.
because he was
Yeah.
That you can
teetering
get.
on the edge, but he
Also,
probably wasn't gonna make it.
Is that cat okay? Because that cat
That
soul...
cat lost its soul. They do not talk about that.
They don't get
but
into
that
it.
cat's soul is gone.
Yep.
Because they have a visual joke of the cat's
Yeah.
soul heading towards the great
Mr.
beyond.
Mittens.
And
They
at
don't bring
the
it
end
up
of the
again.
movie,
However, we do forget cats have 9 lives.
Oh, come on. They don't have 9 souls.
no, that's a good joke.
It's a funny joke, but they show it has like 8 more
Because
souls
the cat
packed in.
is still alive because she finds Mr. Mittens.
The only thing I'll say about it maybe being addressed is that, like you said, the cat is alive again. Maybe the soul came back when the cat came back and he came back into his own body.
Yep.
Maybe that's the case.
Or maybe it's not.
Because they also
important.
found that also could be a mistake.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Ultimately,
Yeah.
it's just a cat.
Because fucking counting Terry over there. is
Oh,
like-
dude, the Terry joke was so good at the very end. What about Terry? Oh, we took care of it, and he's doing the count. Hey, Terry, look over there, and they just change it.
The best fucking part with Terry was when he counted every name ever.
Yes.
Those filing count, like, all right, going through every single
Well,
A.
that's every Garcia.
Yeah, this is every A to every other A, version A to A. Like, oh my god.
And here's
Like
the
that
award for
every
Terry
Garcia.
that he insisted on us giving him.
Yes, there's so much light, fun comedy in this dark existential movie about
Like when he
living.
drags Paul into afterlife, and he's like, "I got you," rips Paul's soul out of his body. He's like, "Oops,
Oh my God,
sorry."
you're not Joe.
Puts him back, and Paul's just like, "Oh my God, I just experienced death."
Near-death experience. It's one of those things that can also change your life. The fact that in the zone and being unhealthily obsessed with something is the same place
They're two sides of the same coin.
was really, really interesting.
It's very
And
good.
this movie, I'm going to compliment the fuck out of this movie because it might be my favorite movie of the year. The animation is so good and so stylized and so crisp and so interesting. When they're on the planet, it's like that real life, like, oh wow, this looks great. And then when they're in the beyond, it's like this weird, like, abstract
Ethereal.
rounds, like, oh, we can make any shape, like, bump, 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 bump. And when they mix them and when they match everything, it's just
It's good.
interesting
Yeah.
and visually appealing. I have a really big problem with a lot of animated movies that come out right now because they're all too samey. A lot of it's samey, a lot of it's weird. Pixar never does that. Pixar's very good.
Pixar's always distinct.
But like, if you look at an Illumination movie, everything's just bad.
It's because they reuse the same fucking art sources for every movie.
This is kind of shit. Hotel Transylvania does the same thing. I don't really like that art style because it's just not interesting. It's not visually appealing. It's just
Everyone
there.
looks like a pancake.
Yeah, everything's just there.
Yeah.
And every single aspect of this movie is so beautifully animated. It is gold standard quality for me. Like the animation in this movie is phenomenal.
I agree.
I love and hate movies about jazz because they make me think and make me sad. But fuck, jazz, interesting.
I was waiting for the Damien Chazelle just crying in the corner.
Yeah.
Animated Damien Chazelle just weeping like a child.
The
While
jazz
somebody's
hurts
just
me.
aggressively playing jazz at him.
You guys immediately recognized David Diggs without having to Google it? Because I did. That was David Diggs as the kid punk in the barbershop who made fun of him
Yeah.
and then gets the existential nightmare when Terry tries to get him.
Yep.
This is the same guy he played in Blind Spotting.
Yeah,
Canon.
100%.
No, but a lot of the voice acting in this movie is also really, really good.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite jokes in the movie, I told you about this yesterday, is that why do you sound like that? And she goes, oh, I can sound like anything. I can even sound like you. Oh, I'm dead. When? Somebody called a ambulance. I was like,
In that scene, I imagine Jamie Foxx making fun of Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm this guy who's so sad.
It's
Oh, the
so funny.
ambulance is such a good line.
It was so funny. And it's those lighthearted things that like bring you back to elation before the movie slaps you in the balls really hard with death and existential crises that makes this movie work so well for me. It brings you up and then it's like, and then you go back down and you're like, oh my God, I'm sad. And then it'll make a nice joke and there'll be a nice heartfelt moment where his mom's proud of him. And it's like, I wish my mom was proud of me.
Same, bro. It's crazy how Pixar can make these existential films. They got this. Onward, I'd argue, is also kind of existential and deals with death. Coco,
Yep.
Inside Out, like
Yep.
all these movies that are just about like psychology.
Even Toy Story 4, Disney Pixar again.
Yeah.
Forky's like, I'm an abomination. I shouldn't be alive.
I want to die.
Like, dog, you're a fork. Calm down.
They've progressively got more and
They're,
more
like-
dreadful.
They're very surprisingly dark,
Yeah.
but very like.
I mean, they've always
happy.
had a tinge of like dark moral theme to them.
Yeah, but now they're like going all out with it.
All
and it's
out.
like
This might be the most all out.
it's like they always have a smile on their face, but it's like Pixar, are you okay, man? And their
Yeah.
head just kind of like tilts to the
Pixar
side.
right
and they're
now
like, I'm
is
fine.
like, am I dead?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say. Other than
I
this
know,
movie's
we only
great,
have
and you should
positives.
watch
Guess,
it 'cause
guess how many
you abs-
negatives I have? Nothing.
So
So
out of
it's
10.
great.
I give it a 9. I don't have any strong negatives. I really enjoyed.
I'd also give it a 9. Aside from the real life stuff,
I'm still teeter-tottering between 9 and the only 10 of the year. So 9, but I do want to watch it again because it was so good.
yeah, you should
Okay.
watch it again, and everyone else should go watch Soul.